Good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Helena. I am the Executive Director with the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to this webinar. We are really excited about this. Anytime that we have, it's real time, anytime that we have opportunities to provide information, especially this hot topic, access to capital, meet the lenders, is so important. The reason why it's so important, we represent 40,000 different business and civic leaders here at the Greater New York Chamber of Commerce. Our goal, our mantra is help your business grow. So if we can get this information into your hands, you can get capital into your business. You're going to hire people. It's a trickle down theory. The people that you hire are going to, spend money in your community. They're going to, give patronage to the local shops and the businesses in the area. So it's a win-win situation. I'm going to turn it over to Manly Lynn. She is my partner. We are so thankful for the opportunity that we work almost on a weekly basis with the SBA, and we're so proud of this opportunity. So Manly, I'm turning it over to you. We do have a chat going on. Put your information in the chat. They will be asking questions. We do have a hard stop at 11. This is being recorded and will be on Chamber TV. So Manly,
Elena,
take it
Elena,
away.
I need to share the PowerPoint. Send
Oh,
request.
okay.
Right.
Share. Okay, multiple allow.
Good morning,
Okay.
everyone. I'm going to share my PowerPoint because SBA have a lot of assistance programs can help you. Today, just focus on the financing. Okay, if you go to sba.gov, the first thing actually you will see SBA's priorities for now. Okay, so I have new programs that actually monthly meet up for success. So I will send you the information. So different stages of your business, we can meet up. And then you see from the left, we have a free business counseling. We have a different kind of SBA guarantee loan. I will talk about that. And then disaster loan and the federal government contracting assistance. If you are looking for one-on-one counseling, please go to the website. They enter your zip codes. All the centers near you will show up. So please make appointment with them. So SBA have our financing programs and also federal contracting. For federal contracting assistance, Helena and I actually we plan to have more the webinars. Actually, there are 3 topics. I hope you can attend all of the 3 for next year. I hope all the business can get government contract. So today I just want to show this slide that if you want to get government contract, you need to be in these 2 database. So please just go to the website and also just open an account there. You will receive this PowerPoint. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about SBA's financing program. We have different kind of loan. We also have investor. We work with investor. Actually, we lend money to investor and match disaster assistance, surety bonds, and grants. So lender match. If you're looking for lenders, this is nationwide. So you go to this link and enter your information and answer a few of questions here. Then we will send to all the lenders nationwide, and the lenders actually can review and contact you. For SBA loan, you can see we have so many programs. Especially right now have something new. So putting American manufacturer first. So manufacturers can get 7A 504 loan, working capital pilot loans. And also the new one is we have MARC loans for manufacturers. Okay, so 10 years revolving or 10 years term. Here, make onshoring great again portal. You can find all the, I think it's all, okay, all the manufacturers, producers, suppliers that actually, if you're planning to do exporting, you're looking for suppliers. And the Mark loans actually is first ever loan dedicated to Americans manufacturers. Okay, so I want to show you here. For the small manufacturing loan fee waiver for 2026. So 0% from fee if you borrow up to $950,000 and no upfront guarantee fees for all 504 manufacturing loans. So if your next code is 31 to 33, actually you are qualified for this loan. SBA is not a lender. We guarantee the loan to the lenders. So you can borrow from $500 to $5.5 million for your business. You don't have to contact SBA. Actually, you should contact the lenders or our resource partner to help you to prepare your business plan, your loan packages. So we have three big categories: 7A loan, 504 loan. For 7A loan, actually, you can borrow up to $5 million for almost everything, even refinance your current business debt. So the details is here. The interest rate is prime rate plus 3 to 6.5%. Depends on how much the loan amount actually have the guarantee fees, but for veterans will be waived. We also have a new program, 7A Working Capital Pilot Program. You can, it's a guaranteed line of credit up to $5 million for domestic and international trade loan. Under 7A loan, we have small loan. You can borrow up to $350,000. You can negotiate the interest rate with the lenders. If you borrow less than $50,000, there's no collateral required. Under 7A loan, we have express loan. You can borrow up to $500,000 and turnaround time is 48 hours. We also have cap line loan, have 4 working capital line, contract line, seasonal line, and builder lines. The second one is 504 loan. This is a very special loan. You see the pie chart. This is the loan for you to buy the machinery or building or land or new facility, even do the improvement or moderation of your facility. You can borrow up to $12 million if you buy the property. And you see the pie chart, you only pay 10% down. SBA will lend you 40%, and we will find the lender lend you 50%. Microloan is for startups because most of the lenders, they don't lend to startups. So this is a special programs. We work with community organizations. So you can borrow from $500 to $50,000. The interest rate is between 8 to 13%. And you should contact, okay, this is the microloan in New York area. If you are not in our office service area, you can contact the local SBA office. So SBIC, you see here, I have a SBIC directory. Those are the investors that actually, if the loan program you're not qualified or it's not enough for you, you can look for investors so you can talk to them, but you need to do the homework. For SBA disaster assistance, I think everybody heard, many of you got a PPP EIDL. So this is the information to contact them. Today, maybe you can get information from our representative from Disaster Center for New York. Recently, have a fire, so that's disaster loan. Also, for construction company especially, we provide surety bonds. For construction company get government contract, they usually have to have a bonds. And selling to the global market, we have 3 international trade loans. You can borrow up to $5 million. This is the only loan you can contact SBA. For New York, New Jersey business, you can contact Abby. So, they can tell you, which lenders can go to and how to help you to do the exporting. SBA also provides funding for each state. So they have programs to help exporting. So please contact New York STEP program. The last one, I want to share 2 grants. but these two grants are for R&D. So small business innovation, research, and technology transfer programs. You can get this is 11 government agency participate. This is 5 for the STTR. Each of the projects more than $1 million, and it's grants. Okay, so please come to learn. I will send you my information and update events for you. So thank you so much. Now we were going to listen to the lenders. Okay, so first, please introduce yourself. Katie, I will call you by the orders on the screen. Okay, Katie,
Hi,
please.
good morning. Caitlin DeJacob, a VP Business, SBA Business Development Officer with Valley Bank.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin McQuaid. I'm with Harvest Small Business Finance. I'm a VP Business Development Officer as well.
Thank you, Vincent.
Good morning, Vincent from Renaissance Economic Development Corporation and Director of Business Development.
Thank you, James.
Sure. Good morning. My name is Jimmy Vigna. I work for a company called Pursuit. We've been around since 1955. Some of you might know us by our former name, the New York Business Development Corporation. We're a non-bank lender that is licensed to lend in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania.
Thank you. Richard?
Hey everyone, Rich Reynoso here, Chief Lending Officer at a company Capital.
Thank you. JR?
Good morning, everyone. J.R. Dorsonville, Business Lending Officer with Community Capital New York.
Thank you. Daryl?
Good morning here, Daryl Lapia with Momentous Capital, CDFI, and we serve nationwide.
Thank you. So my first question to you is what stage of business actually can you make loans to? Because a lot of business told me they say actually have to be in business for 2 years. Is that true? Okay. Caitlin?
No, definitely not true. At Valley, we do full startup projection-based business plan loans. I work on those quite frequently, as well as, however many years in business you've been, we're always happy to take a look and be a resource.
Thank you. Kevin?
Yeah, we do a lot of 7A loans and the SBA 7A loan as well. We do the real estate acquisition. We're doing one also now with tenant improvement work. So we're doing a startup right now in Florida, actually. They have a little bit of experience in the business, but it's a new venture, and it's also based on projections.
Thank you. Vincent? You have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, there it is. At Renaissance, we do both existing and startup loans, but startup loans, we require 50% of the project cash injection.
Thank you. James?
Yes, so Pursuit does provide financing for both startups and existing businesses. Depending on what the use of funds is for, it would dictate which loan program is used.
Thank you. Richard?
Company Capital, we do both. We do micro lending, startup lending, and 7A lending. So we run the gamut.
Thank you. JR?
Yeah, at Community Capital, we do both existing businesses and startups. However, I will say that I speak to a lot of startup businesses who are in the very, very early stages where they're seeking to develop prototypes and things of that nature. Unfortunately, we're not that early in the process. We do like to work with startups that are ready to go to market with either their product or service. So we can't do things like lend out funds if you're just looking to start developing your prototypes.
Thank you. Daryl?
Similar to JR, we don't lend. You got to be out of the R&D stage. Outside of that, we have no revenue requirements. We can do existing businesses, startups as well. Require a 10% equity injection for us as well. But our bread and butter is the 7A lending with startups. We are able to mitigate that equity injection with any monies that the borrower has recently put into their business endeavor and places that, saving them that money up front. So very similar to the other lenders on this panels, we work with existing and startups with no revenue requirements at all.
Thank you. So right now I'm talking about the SBA's guarantee loan. So what kind of loan actually you do for SBA loan, 7A, 504, micro loan, or international trade loan? Kaylin?
So we focus on primarily 7A lending at Valley. However, we also do 504 loans. We have done some international trade loans, so we are open to those. Right now, though, we don't really have a micro loan platform or, for the smaller loans. We just don't have that capacity right now. But other than that, we have a pretty healthy appetite and product set.
Okay, thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, we do mostly SBA. We do SBA 7A and 504 loans. We also have a conventional product where it's similar to a bank loan. We are a non-bank lender, so we don't have a lot of the restrictions as the banks have to lend. But we're typically real estate based, so we're more or less a real estate lender, commercial real estate lender.
Thank you, Vincent.
We only do at Renaissance micro loans.
James.
Yep. So Pursuit provides the SBA 7A, 504, and microloan programs, as well as about 15 different non-SBA loan programs.
Thank you, Richard.
At Company Capital, we partake in the 7A program and also the micro lending program.
Thank you, JR.
Yep. At Community Capital New York, we do the SBA 7A program, small business loans up to $250,000. We also participate in the microloan program. And just this past summer, we launched a contractor lending program where we're able to provide funding for businesses that have secured state or city contracts and are looking for funds in order to fulfill those contracts.
Thank you, Daryl.
Yeah, so we specialize in 7A lending. We also do microloans. We lend a minimum of $30,000. We're capped at $350,000. But we also have 504. I just obviously handle the small business arm and the 7A product, but we do 504 lending. We also have our own in-house product, which is very similar to the 504 lending program. It's called Empower 95 program. But really, all SBA products in the microloan as well.
Okay, thank you. The next question is about, I know all of you have your own programs. We want to, introduce those. But before that, I just want to answer, I saw a lot of people ask, yes, you will get the recording. And also I will provide you all the lenders here, their contact information. So please just listen to them, okay? Focus on the listening. So the question is, what other loan products do you have, Caitlin?
And so Valley is a full service commercial bank, relationship focused. We have a whole suite of lending products, conventionally from lines of credit, real estate loans. We've also really been expanding our small business segment and have a whole new channel that's really been developing. That's exciting. That has streamlined underwriting processes for businesses, that are smaller in scale, under 5 million in revenue, to get expedited turnaround times for loans. So there's definitely a lot of good things at Valley, and a lot of people I could always introduce you to when SBA isn't the right fit.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, we like I had mentioned earlier, we do the 504 and the SBA 7A loans. We also do have our conventional products. So we'll do a 70% loan to value conventional loan on commercial real estate. We also partner with a lot of other firms in order to do other SBA loans and to fulfill other requirements that they may have for the business as well.
Thank you, Vincent.
Yeah, we have currently at Renaissance the Greater New York Loan Fund up to 100,000 at 8% fixed interest rate, and then we're currently offering a SNAP emergency loan up to 50,000 at 4% interest rate as well.
Thank you, James.
Yep. So as I had mentioned before, Pursuit has about 15 different non-SBA loan programs. Everything that ranges from us being the only community development financial institution in the country that offers a true line of credit product that goes up to $100,000, to a number of other criteria-based programs based on location, whether it's a woman-owned business, minority-owned business, etc. Picture Pursuit as one giant house with a number of different rooms in it. So it's not necessarily up to the borrower to be able to figure out which loan program fits. It's up to us to be able to identify which the right program is for them based on the use of proceeds and where they are in their stage of business.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks. For us, I think we have various programs besides the 7A and this micro lending, but our bread and butter is a term loan at 8%, goes up to 3 years, no credit minimums. We work with every client. We try to get every deal done in terms of the structure.
Thank you, JR.
Yeah, so in addition to the SBA programs, we do have a premium product for borrowers who meet certain criteria, such as 700 credit scores, businesses that have been in existence for 2 years and are profitable. We're offering that product currently at a 6% interest rate up to $75,000. I did mention the contractor lending loan in the prior question, but for businesses that have secured contracts with either city or state agencies as a prime or a sub, we are offering this product for those businesses who are seeking capital in order to fulfill those contracts as well.
Thank you, Daryl.
Yeah, as I said before, 7A really is probably the primary product that I kind of specialize in. Outside of that, we have an investment team where we can work with mezzanine debt and larger companies that have been in business for some time, and after they meet certain revenue requirements, where we can kind of invest in as well and drive the growth of that business. We also have the Empower, which I said kind of works as a substitute 504 loan. And we also specialize in community development lending as well, education, healthcare practices, whereas we really help with real estate, in addition to doing a lot of cohorts in certain areas as well, being that we're nationwide. But outside of that, it's really the 7A terms, minimum of 30,000, capped at 350K over 10 years. Prime with our designated spread. So.
Okay, thank you. My next question is, when should borrowers contact you? Because there is a rumor, okay, like 2 years. So when should they contact you, Caitlin?
I think as you're, putting together your business plan and you identify that you have a need for access to capital or a future plan to expand, it might not be today, it could be a time in the future. I always welcome having conversations earlier than later, because when you come and you say, I need money in 30 days, it's a lot harder than if you start to build a relationship with the lender who gets to understand your business, your plans, and can really help guide and work with you as a partner. So I always say the earlier you start that relationship, the better. It just allows the lender to better understand you and your business and make sure we get all the right resources in place.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm real estate based, so I'm usually hearing from borrowers when they are either just starting to look for a building or they're close to going to contract on a building. And that's kind of where I look at it. I do get several of our loans come very late in the process because they may have gone to a bank and for one reason or another, they don't fit the credit box for the bank. But the beauty of it is we do a lot of bank turndown work. And the good thing is that we're a non-bank lender. We don't take any of the banking business. So the banks keep all the business. We just place the loan and everyone's happy in the process.
Thank you, Vincent.
I'd say at Renaissance, typically the sooner the better, so we could get a better understanding of the business and the ins and out of it as well. And then I would say we provide hands-on technical assistance and we can guide you through the process of packaging a loan and the loan document requirements and stuff like that. So I would say the sooner the better.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, so I'm going to answer a little differently. I think I can speak for most of us when we're on this panel, is that when you should not contact us is when you need the money tomorrow. As everyone on this panel probably
Get those
knows,
two.
this is a bit of a process, right? So earlier is always better. And even if that's not at a point where you're ready to access financing, it's understanding the lay of the landscape of everyone that's on here, right? So understanding what lenders provide what products, how they operate, what their sweet spots are. So it's always good to do this up front as early as possible.
We do the fire drills too, Jimmy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Richard, Kevin, we have to save the time. Sorry, Richard.
No, definitely, like the previous presenter just said, but also I think for us, we're very, very big on technical assistance. So if you have an idea, please come to us. I think we do a lot of lending, but I would say 70% of our time is with technical assistance. So if you have an idea, you need budgeting, you need projections, we're here to help you. It's free. That's our mission. So please come to us if you need to plan out your strategy moving forward, and then you get the loan.
Thank you, Daryl.
Yeah, will have a conversation with anybody regarding no matter what timeline of the process, if it's still a dream, if it's still ready before it's even pen on paper, if it's, they're ready to pull the trigger. Like what's been said previously before me, the sooner the better, just again, really get a scope of what direction you want to go, I think it's truly important to kind of have all your ducks in a row. So, the more information you have for us up front, the quicker we can get you the money you need. It's as simple as that. So, I always say if it's still, if it's even before pen and paper, you have an idea and you kind of need to get it out and get going, I'm more than happy to have a conversation regardless of what stage you are in your business endeavor.
Thank you, JR.
Sure, we'd love to speak to you as soon as possible. As soon as you know that you want to start a business, if you are in the early stages, we're happy to have the conversation with you and provide any guidance with respect to how you should be prepared for the financing process. So we'd like to speak to you as early as you understand that you are prepared, you're going to be making this move. Now, with respect to things like, for example, contractor financing, we want to talk to you as you're submitting your RFPs, right? So you can understand what the financial needs are, what the process is, what documents you need to have in place. You don't want to wait till you secure a bid, because I've seen that happen where folks secure a bid, something is due in the next 30 to 45 days, and now they're starting to look for financing. That can make it extremely challenging. I did say before that while we can't lend funds for things like developing a prototype, we can start the conversation with respect to what the needs are going to be and what you need to put in place in order to secure the financing. When in the process should you start to actually gather documentation such as your financials, budgets, projections, tax returns, things of that nature, so that we could ultimately fund you when you're prepared to go to market. So as soon as possible, whenever possible.
Okay, thank you. Now we go to the serious question. What are the minimum credit score and collateral requirements? Okay,
Sure. So we don't have really a minimum credit score. However, we always look at credit as a total picture. We're not an algorithm-based lender. Everything, really gets in front of people, and you look at the story in the background. So I would say, that's one piece on the credit score. It, again, total profile, are you currently late? Are you delinquent? Was it something that happened a long time ago because there was a health issue? So we really get to have a better understanding of it. You're not just a credit score number at Valley. And then as far as collateral requirements, everything goes under the SOP guidelines of what has to be pledged for SBA. So, if there's collateral shortfalls, it could be life insurance or your residence, but, that's just the nature of SBA lending. We don't typically take additional collateral, but if there's extra collateral you're willing to pledge, a bank will always say, okay. But for the most part, we stick with the SBA standard operating procedures for collateral requirements.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we're the real estate lender in the group specifically, and So the collateral, we do all types of collateral. We do office, industrial, all types of commercial collateral. We even do special use car washes, things like that. Our minimum credit score, we're typically looking for a 600 for general purpose and a 650 for specialty type of property. But as Caitlin mentioned, it's not a hard and fast rule either. We've smoothed a bunch of them over with letters of explanation and figuring out the whole picture of who our borrower is. And there are occasions where we do need to take additional collateral or firm up, but we're pretty fluid in putting a package together and figuring out how to get to the finish line.
Thank you, Vincent.
At Renaissance, we have a minimum credit score of 600, and our loans are not collateral based, but with the 600 base credit score, we are flexible depending on the scenario and case of the individual.
Thank you, James.
Yep. So SBA doesn't really have a formal minimum credit score. If I had to put a number on it, it would be somewhere between 650 and 680. However, it's not what you did, it's what you did to rectify it. So I've had borrowers that have had bankruptcies, been formally incarcerated, everything in between. It's not what you did, it's what you did to rectify it. And more importantly, it's the willingness to be transparent about it. On the other side of your question regarding collateral, that's tied to the specific loan program that's used. So for example, for the 504 loan program, the building is collateral. In simple terms, you don't make the payments, you lose the building. On the 7A side, which is the SBA's catch-all program for just about everything, which includes real estate, it requires any and all available collateral, which is exactly what it sounds like. So that means if you have a house free and clear, you'd have to pledge it. However, SBA does not allow for declinations due to a lack of collateral. So simply put, if you have it, you got to pledge it. If you don't have it, you cannot be declined due to that reason.
Thank you, Richard.
At Company Capital, we don't have a minimum requirement for credit score. And for collateral, we don't usually take collateral unless it's needed in the program for the 7A exam, for example.
Thank you, Daryl.
We used to not advertise a minimum credit score requirement recently, but as of late, due to a lot of the changes within the SBA, we have since pivoted to a 670. And reason being is I'm not sure how familiar with people are on this call with the SBSS score, driven by that and knowing the relation between the score and that SBSS score in order to get that approval and funding. So that's why we had to since pivot to at least a 670. But still, we are flexible. We want to understand the why behind kind of what's on the report after we obviously do a triage of the actual credit report. In terms of collateral, we don't have a collateral requirement. Typically, we do a UCC lien or business filing. Every now and then, it's very rare that we'll pledge a property. Obviously, if you use our loan to secure property, we probably would take that. But for the most part, it's usually just the UCC filing.
Thank you. JR?
Yeah, so we do not have a minimum credit score for our SBA products. We're more focused on what's on the actual report. As many of us here know, the score is usually indicative of performance with respect to your credit history. So we're more concerned about the credit history. And to Jimmy's point, the important thing is what you do about bad credit if you have it. So I've had situations where I've worked with folks for multiple months, 6, 7, 8 months, because issues with respect to credit had to be taken care of. They had to be repaired, and we were able to provide funding subsequent to that. So it's okay to come into the process with credit challenges. It's about how you deal with it once we've identified those. Often I will tell folks that, hey, before I officially run your credit score, why don't you provide me a copy of your credit report? Let's look over it together. Let's identify any issues if you think there might be something there that we need to know about. So that transparency is really important. And Jimmy made that point as well. It's critical because once we understand what the issues are, we can take the necessary steps to rectify those issues. For our non-SBA products, the contract and lending product, we do have a score of 600. However, that loan is more secured by the contract itself. We do have an assignment of contract where we receive payment prior to the business being paid via an assignment. So the contract itself is going to collateralize the loan. And for our premium product, we do have a minimum credit score. It is between 680 and 700 we're looking for, and that is a product that is not secured or guaranteed by the SBA. Generally speaking, if collateral is available, we will seek to use collateral. So with respect to collateral, for the SBA products, to Jimmy's point, he actually put it quite succinctly. So I don't necessarily need to repeat it here, but we do use collateral when it's necessary. However, having no collateral will not prevent you from being able to secure the loan. There are other items that we're going to review.
Okay, thank you. Richard? I thought you already answered this question.
Yeah, I did,
Okay.
but no minimum credit score.
Okay, the next question. We tell the business actually they have to show the ability to repay the debt. So how can they show that? Okay, Caitlin?
Sure. So, we typically look for a cash flow, a debt service coverage ratio of 1.2. If we have the historical data, or even when we're looking at projections. However, when, a business is looking to expand or grow and they might not be able to, meet that right off the bat, that's really where projections come in, and understanding to help enhance that and give the bank a good future picture of where the business is going, not just where it is today.
Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah, we'll do a global cash flow. You kind of want to see where the borrower is regarding their liquidity, where else they have income coming in from, whether it's just from that one business or affiliated businesses, things like that. Our minimum DSCR cover, which is the debt service coverage ratio, is typically like a 1.5 as a minimum, but that's not hard and fast either. So it depends really on the global.
Thank you. Vincent?
Yeah, at Renaissance, we mainly use a kind of customized P&L to help our small business clients. And typically we ask or look for around a global debt service coverage ratio of 1.2. But again, we handle cases, that go below it. But it's all about the story, understanding the business, and understanding the background behind, the loan request and what you're trying to accomplish.
James?
Yep. So I want to separate my answer between startups and existing businesses. So to go with startups first, obviously there's no real historical financial data for the business for us to be able to make a determination. So it becomes entirely reliant on the projections in the business plan. Now, to be really clear, anybody that has Microsoft Excel can put a set of numbers on a piece of paper. It's the story that you tell behind it that's more important. So picture it as somewhere in between build it and they will come and a math exercise. It's somewhere in the middle of those two things. So it's giving me a story that supports the numbers. Now, for a business that is existing, obviously there is historical financial data to go on. So if you take nothing else from this entire conversation, do not fall into the small business owner trap. And what I mean by that is that business owners tend to want to write off as much as they can so that they show no profitability. That's really, really great because you're not able to pay taxes or you don't have a large tax liability. However, unless you're borrowing money from someone like a loan shark, anyone here on this panel can only go based on what's on paper. So keep that in mind. So from everyone keeps throwing around this debt service coverage ratio term. So in simple terms, that means for every dollar that you borrow, you have $1.20 in free available cash to be able to pay it back.
Thank you. Daryl?
For us, just kind of piggyback on everything that's been said. I mean, the same applies for us over here as well. We rely heavily on projections. We like the one-to-one as well. As Jimmy just said, for every dollar of debt that you're showing, we like to see a dollar income to match. Simple as that. So we just want to be able to see that the projections essentially could could service the loan payment in that ramp up stage that you're in, and more so just have the outside income to cover your personal limit expenses while that's being done, while you're in that ramp up stage. We like to see projections based off of 2 years broken down monthly, so 24 months, and they can't be flat. We want to see that trajectory is on the up and up. And this is for startups mainly. For existing businesses, we just need a one cash flow and tax return. And if there is, let's say you did great in 2023, you had a down year in 2024 for whatever reason. In the interim, you look back decent. We can go off of that, but we're just going to need projections to kind of, and with solid assumptions to back what's getting you back in that right direction. So if you have a one-off year, it's not the end all be all. So that's kind of the way we look at things. But in short summary, we do a lot of the things similar to how these other panelists just described.
Thank you. JR?
Sure. I won't belabor the point too much. However, the debt service coverage is extremely important. For our microloan products, we're looking at 1.4 debt service coverage. So for every dollar in debt, $1.40 in free cash flow in order to support that debt. For our SBA guarantee product, we're at 1.2. So it's just really important that the business has the ability to support debt while paying all its other operating expenses. We do look at global debt service coverage as well, meaning we will take into consideration the ability of the borrower to contribute income towards that debt payment. But that the borrower also has to be able to support themselves, right? Their livelihoods as well. So when we look at that global and the business picture, it is the ability for the borrower to support their own livelihoods and be able to generate cash flow beyond that, as well as the business's ability to support its operating expenses and then have cash flow available to support any debt that they intend on taking on.
Thank you, Richard.
At a company capital, our DSCR minimum is 1.15. And I would like to also say, I think for all of us, we also look at bank statement analysis. So if you have your cash flow coming in, we'll look at that. And to Jimmy's point, tax strategy is important. If you're writing off negative net income, we cannot work with you. You have to show positive net income. That's something we can't be creative about when we underwrite.
Okay, thank you. My next question, what is the most common mistake borrowers make? Now I will reverse the order, okay? So start from you, Richard, so for fairness, okay? Richard, you go first.
Yes, so I think the one mistake borrowers make, is that the question, right?
Yes.
Okay, no, I think so. Well, it's just coming too late. We've said it before. I think it's just, they want the money tomorrow. That's just, that creates anxiety for us. We feel bad for you. We have this folks in line. I think for me personally, it's something that comes up a lot. Folks are like, I'm ready to go now. I need it next week. Apologies, but we can't do that. And so I think that's the biggest mistake from my end.
Thank you. JR?
Yeah, I would say the biggest mistakes that I see all relate to just the management of records and the necessary documentation that you should have in place as a business owner. So keeping good taxes, extremely important. That's already been stated, but it is the thing that could kill the deal, right? If that stuff is not in order. So making sure your taxes are filed properly and having them available when you need them. Like those taxes should be somewhere in a folder that's easily accessible to you. So when you speak to a lender and they say, hey, I need your taxes, you can just, upload, send. It should be that simple, right? Now, related to that though, is the day-to-day document management in the business, right? You should be doing bookkeeping. You should have solid books in place. You should be able to pull up a P&L and a balance sheet and forward that information over, right? Your bank accounts, obviously, it seems like that should be readily available if bank statements are needed. So just day-to-day document management, good, sound record keeping, because all of this information is going to be available to you when you need it. I speak to a lot of businesses and I talk to them about this level of documentation. And sometimes they seem shocked that we're asking for all of that information. But, I like to say to them, listen, this isn't for the sake of us as a lender. Obviously, we need these documents in order to do our underwriting, but everything we're asking for are things that you should be doing in your business on a day-to-day basis. So when we ask for it, it should just be available. If you had these things on hand, if you were doing good bookkeeping, you should be able to pull up your P&L and balance sheets at a moment's notice. And so we're not asking for anything that you shouldn't be able to provide us at a moment's notice if you are already keeping good practices with respect to that.
Thank you, Daryl.
I will say, and Jimmy already shed light on this, writing off everything prior to seeking us, because it is, what's on paper for underwriting really is just it's black and white. We understand why you're doing it. For tax purposes, women seeking and lending, it's a huge no-no. I want to pivot though to, I think for me, I see is folks not really truly understanding the use of proceeds for the loan. I always advise clients to kind of go for what they need and not what they want. Sometimes they might sell themselves short and ask for very little, or sometimes they might ask for a lot more. And, our role essentially is making sure that the borrower isn't binding off more they can chew, right? So I will say just really, truly getting a grasp of what you're going to use the loan for in terms of your business, and just really understanding the number of your loan request and obviously what happens once you receive it, again, just really being smart about it. Every now and then I'll talk to folks and they're like, how much can I get qualified for? I ask them, what is the amount of the loan request if they haven't, really told me yet. And it's well, I don't know, whatever it is that I can get. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know if that's a good practice. You sit down and really put together what it is that you're trying to do with these monies, or else you might find yourself biting off more than you could chew or not having enough. Sometimes you ask for very little and next thing you know, you're turning around the next 30 days trying to get another loan for us. And that might be a little bit difficult. If, you haven't done all that there is to do with the first go around. So just really, really understanding the numbers in that sense when it comes to your loan request.
Thank you. James?
Yeah, so depending on how much time we have, so some of the mistakes that are really important to note is that when someone starts off the conversation with how much can I borrow, that in and of itself is a giant red flag. That tells us that you haven't done any of the research. You don't really know what you need to use the funds for. So I'm not saying that you need to know every single thing about every cost associated with the project. However, it should be a very clear understanding as to what you plan on using the money for and how much you need. The second part about this is not being transparent. Without going too far down the rabbit hole, there's 5 C's associated with credit. The most important one is character. So there is no scenario in which, if there's something that should be disclosed up front, and I think I could speak for everybody that's on here, that there's no scenario in which we will not find out. So it's always important to be transparent up front. None of us are here to be a judge, jury, or executioner. We're actually here to help you. But in order for me to be able to help you, I need the borrower to be transparent with me. So I would say that those are the 2 big ones, aside from things that have been mentioned earlier today.
Thank you, Vincent.
Yeah, I think I second everything that everyone has said thus far, but I think one of the biggest mistakes borrowers make right now is potentially, I don't know if I can say this, but going to predatory lending. I think hitting like 25, 30%, it's easy cash, but you know what? It's going to eat you alive and it's going to take over your business, and you're not going to be able to, I guess, recover as soon as you think you are. So I second everyone else's kind of comments, and I think financials are key. Understanding your financials in and out, money in, money out, how much money you have left over at the end of the month is critical. So then you can understand how much money you can take out or lend and grow your business.
Thank you. Kevin?
Yeah, I'm going to reiterate pretty much what everyone said as well. I think the keys are be prepared, be organized, and as Jimmy said, be transparent. Because at the end of the day, there's really nothing we're not going to find out. And if you're upfront with it, it's something we can deal with and get our head around and figure out. Um, and if it's something that's you know, a dead end and just stops the transaction, you want to know right up front. You don't want to drag this thing out and then find out later on, oh, I forgot to tell you, that I had this felony conviction, that I had this bankruptcy, or, it's going to come up. So also have all your documents, your financials in order. As everyone said before, you should be able to, if we ask for an updated interim financials, you should be able to pretty much click on the computer and send them over fairly quickly. So you should be up to date on all your current financials with your business. But that's pretty much it. Be concise, have a concise business plan, and projections if it's a startup.
Thank you. Caitlin?
Yeah, everything, everyone shared is definitely spot on of common mistakes. I definitely will say understanding your budget and a very, clear, detailed breakdown of how you're going to use the funds is key. And other mistakes I've seen, honestly, sometimes are on your personal financial statement. People omit information or, don't fill it out correctly, and just understanding that form a little deeper. Because that's something the lender, we're going to look at upfront with you, maybe even before pulling your credit. And there's a lot we can learn and understand from it. So really understanding how to complete it and being transparent, I think is really key. And when people make mistakes early on the simpler forms, it can make the process a lot more difficult later. So definitely transparency, organization, keeping it together.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to say thank you, all the lenders, because this will be the last event actually for this year, okay, for the last Meet the Lenders. So maybe Helena, you can just let all the lenders give one advice for business for 2026. Okay, and you will receive the contact information. Helena and I just want to build a bridge for the business to reach to the lenders. This is not the time to ask you your personal loan questions. Okay, so thank you very much. I have to leave. I see you next time.
Thank you so much, Manley. We so appreciate the partnership with the SBA. And yes, don't put any personal information. I've been monitoring the chat to make sure of that, but that's, you believe it or not, I get that, a lot of that. So there's Manley. Thank you so much. So, you know what? Yes, we have 4 minutes, so I will take advantage of it. Caitlin, if you can start, and then we'll go around the computer. Just, what do you want people to know for 2026, real brief?
I would say my one big piece of advice would be to definitely put together your plan, right? And it's a plan that you don't put it in a box and forget about it. You keep updating it. And, my best advice, whether you're looking for lending or even just in growing your business, we talked about documentation. It would be getting that electronic file organized, your tax returns, your personal financial information, bank statements, and business plan, your projections, your P&Ls, and keeping everything in, one easy file will really help you be able to share information should you need lending or expedite things. So, to really get organized for 2026, revisit those business plans, and we look forward to helping you grow.
Love it. Kevin, what would be for you?
Yeah, we're all pretty much going to say the same kind of thing because we're all looking for the same kind of thing to get to the finish line for you. But I would say cooperation, communication, organization. Be on top of your business. Your business is your lifeline. It's important to you. Make sure that you're not just kind of running it from the seat of your pants, and that you really have all the documentation that you need and keep things concise.
Thank you so much for that. Vincent, Jimmy, then Daryl, then JR, then Rich.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. I think maybe when it comes to planning projections, just be pessimistic. Think about the worst case scenario due to, a lot of changes that are coming in the upcoming years. And when you're planning, just be aware of a worst case scenario, so you're not over estimating your projections or thinking your revenue is going to be X amount, and then if you don't have a backup plan, it kind of put a dent in your business. So I think that's it.
Good advice. Jimmy, what would it be for you?
So entrepreneurship is calculated risk by nature. So when someone's going out and starting their own business, it's putting their ducks in a row, but also having a little bit of faith in themselves. So have faith on taking the chance in yourself. And secondly, do not be intimidated by bankers or lenders. All of us put pants on the same way every morning.
There you go. I mean, we're so true, and that's why we put this on, because this is a friendly group, and we're here to make sure that it is a very friendly process. Daryl, what would it be for you?
Yeah, I mean, just piggybacking on what everyone has said, we're the advocate for you all business over entrepreneurs. We play the middleman between you and essentially our underwriters, unless there are folks on here who actually do underwriting. I don't. But I think really the key component is preparation more than anything. Just be prepared, understanding the 5 C's, get all your ducks in a row, and just don't be afraid to start. You take that leap of faith if you haven't yet, and pull the trigger. I mean, we all offer technical assistance, any sort of guidance, and just don't be afraid, believe in yourself, and just preparation. The more prepared you are, the quicker we can get you the money you need to get going. So, I can't stress that enough. Just do your due diligence and just make sure you have all your ducks in a row to the best of your ability.
And make sure it's not the day before that you need that money. Because believe it or not, I get a lot of
Exactly.
calls for this. I get a lot. JR, then Rich. JR.
Sure. I think I will echo Caitlin's sentiment, what she shared earlier. But I'll add to that a little bit by just saying, in addition to that planning, it's business development is so important as business owners, right? We have to go out there, we have to generate business, but it's really important for you to understand how you generate business. I think a lot of times we operate by intuition, and a lot of this stuff is intuitive. But what I find at times is that intuition is not enough. You really need to understand on a granular level how business actually happens in the operation that you're running. How does a sale actually come into the door? Right. If I had to go out and generate $250,000 in business, what would be my process for doing that? Like to the detail, right? How many people do I need to reach out to? What resources am I investing in, right? And so I need to know all of that information in order to go out and drum up some business. And business owners really, really need to grasp this. This is so, so critical, because ultimately it's your ability to generate sales and revenues that's going to be able to pay down this loan, that's going to allow you to generate the profits that you're seeking, right? So focus on that business development and really understanding on a granular level how I make money, how I actually do business.
Love it. Also, Rich, but before, you know what? Also, someone mentioned earlier, you know what? Reach out to, a reputable type of organization, like the people on the panel or a member of the chamber. Someone mentioned about 30, there are financial institutions that are offering quick money at 30%. You will never get on top of that. Yep. You know what? It like my hair sticks up when you had mentioned that, because I have gotten, people involved in legal issues that have called the chamber for legal advice, that they did that last minute, and it just broke my heart. So, Rich, you want to close it out? We can't hear you. You're muted. Oh, okay. I think we got everyone, correct? We're good?
Yeah, I think
okay.
So.
Yeah, no one's Richard, you want to try one more time or no? I think he's out. Okay. Do we get it? Okay. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We so appreciate it. It will be on Chamber TV. So just give me a couple hours to download it, put it on. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me and email me. I think Manley will give me the deck. So if you want the deck to this presentation, it was just a couple of slides, but I would just refer to this recording again on Chamber TV. So everyone, Caitlin, Kevin, Vincent, Jimmy, Daryl, JR, and Rich, thank you so much for your time. It's so important on behalf of the Greater New York Chamber to put this information into the hands of the businesses. And I'm really excited that we have this opportunity. Everyone, don't forget next Tuesday. I know it's cold out, so that's why we have the online networking Tuesdays at 10 o'clock. Go to our website, join us on that. And December 18th is our annual holiday party. Really excited about that. It's a cocktail reception. Please join us. If you come to the in-person networking cocktail party, bring business cards because you'll be able to grow your business. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
See ya.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Have a good one.
Bye. Have a